Well, hello there. Welcome to, can you believe it? We're already on day number 12 of our Advent calendar. Where has the time gone? We're not that long up to Christmas. What about the halfway point now, aren't we? Round about that halfway point, which is scary to think. However, we've still got halfway to go when it comes to our Advent calendar. Yay! So, going with the, I know you can't quite see it, going with the holidays are come and feel today when it comes to the Coca-Cola. Ironically, it's Coca-Cola that I've got. The red one, of course, the best one, the fatty one. We love that one. Anyway, let's dive in. It is, of course, Monday, as I'm saying, Monday the 12th. This one is a video because I am at Hobby Maker today. When this one goes out, I will be at Hobby Maker. And by the time I would usually do my lives, I'll actually be travelling back. I don't get home till about 10:30 at night, 11:15 when I've been at Hobby Maker. So that's why this one is a video. Now, when it's a video, it does, of course, mean that, unfortunately, the only downside with that one is no comment to have a look at. I do go back after this video has been posted and have a look to see what you've all been saying, which is always lovely to see. But the thing is, let's just dive straight in. Let's have a look, see what's behind door number 12 of our Advent calendar, and of course, we can get crafting with it. So let's do that. Let's go in to number 12. So let's see where we are. We are away down at the bottom, right down into here. So let's go in, open it up and see what we have got. We've got a hello die. Now that one, to me, is going to come in very, very handy. Loving the look, loving the style, and loving the font when it comes to hello. So let's close us up again. Let's tie it ready for tomorrow, day 13, which will be live. So let's set that to the side. Now this one, we are going to do a little bit of mixed media, and I thought what we can do with this one is let's bring in our sparkle paste that you'll have got from Sarah's Winter's Sparkle. We're also going to bring in our iridescent glitter, and then I thought what we'll also do to add a little bit of sparkle, let's add our Starry Sky sparkle pen. And then I thought, if you got our large sentiments quite a while ago, so it was this range that you can see here, our big dies, shaped word dies. They originally came with stencils. So I've gone for the scattered dots here, and I thought we can use that in conjunction. So of course, you can just use some pattern paper, die cut the word, pop it on that. But I thought, let's just stretch our creativity here. So let's move all of that out the side for now, because I don't need it quite just yet. What I have got as well is I've got my heat tool. You can do what I'm away to do and leave it at room temperature to dry, but I am going to use our heat tool to speed it up. So what I'm also going to do is I've brought in some of our watercolour card. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to chop that to 3.5 by 6.5. So that's 3.5 by 6.5. Then what we are going to do is we're going to go into our matte cardstock. Now this is our 12 by 12, which was the decorative Christmas that we can see here. And I'm going to go in with this navy blue that we can see here. In actual fact, I've got some that I have used previous. So I'm going to use this navy blue. So what I'm then going to do is I'm going to quickly do my matting layer just now. So what I want with this one is, as I said, it's 3.5 by 6.5. Now I want a very fine matting layer border. So what I am going to do, I am going to cut it to 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that's going to give me my 1/4 of an inch matting layer, but I am going to bring it down a bit. So I'm going to come down maybe about 3 millimeters. So let's come down into here, and we've got a thinner matting layer border. What I've also done, I've taken a 7x7 card blank and then I have chopped it up so it's 7 inches by 4 inches, and that will then sit like so. Now the card, what we're going to do, it could go vertically, it could go horizontally, it's up to you, you'll see what I mean in a moment. So let's move all that out the way because I've finished at the moment with my guillotine. But then what I'm going to do is let's bring in our hello die and let's do the die cutting now. So I'm going to do this 3 times in the navy card. So let's run that one through, and we can then do that once again. So run that one through. So keep going till you've got the 3 of them that we can see here. So let's pop that out there. Any little bits we're going to take out, and then let's take in our Gemini Mini, and then we can take that one out. Now what I am going to do, although this is white cardstock, I am going to do a drop shadow with also white cardstock, but I'm going to do it with our white multi-purpose card. And I know at first you might think, oh, that is a little bit strange, white on white, but the sharpness of our white multi-purpose cardstock is going to work against the background design that we are doing with our watercolour card. So I'm just going to get a piece. We've got a piece here. No, I don't. Just getting a piece of our multi-purpose on this side. And as you can see, I've still not got round to bringing my core cardstock, white multi-purpose, black, craft, etc., from that side to here. And we'll get round to it at some point. Maybe do that in the new year. So all that I've done is I've just cut a strip that we can see here. Just enough so that I can do this 3 times. So let's run that one through. And any little bits, we're going to take that out. So once again, we are going to do this 3 times. So let's run this one through. Now you can be doing this, of course, not necessarily with smooth navy cardstock. You can do this with our Centura Peril. You can do this with your Shedless Glitter card. Or even if you don't have our Shedless Glitter card, you can still do this with any glitter card. So let's take that one here and run that one through. So that's us done with our mini. So I'm going to take that one out the way. I'm done with my hello die as well. So pop these bits out, and then what we're going to do is we are going to do a drop shadow. So I'm going to take my tacky glue and then I'm going to go in with my wet glue onto the back of my navy, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that into there. Just a subtle white drop shadow, and I know if you do it there you're going to be like, well Craig, you can't really tell the difference, but because we're going to add some colour onto this, you will slightly see a little bit of a sharp white outline. So let's do the same again. Now, when it comes to your different adhesives, you could of course pop your card onto our double-sided tape, and then what you could also do, pop your cardstock onto your double-sided adhesive sheets, I should say, run it through, and then that will create a sticker. You can use your dotty glues, you can use your sprays, but you know, when it comes to things like this, I do just like my wet glue. So let's go in, and I'm going to press that together. So drop shadows all in the same direction, but if I do that against my hand, you can see how effective that is. Hello, it's me, or many different hello versions of the songs. So let's go, say hello. Some say I'd sing Adele, some think and sing Lionel Richie, don't they? So, what we can actually do at this stage as well, let's jump back and let's add some foam pads to the back. This bit also you could, if you want to, keep flat when it comes to popping them on, but you know me, I always like some sort of height somewhere with my foam pads. So let's go into there, just doing the 3 to stabilize the sentiment. And in actual fact, what I will do is let's bring in the little scissors, and these are your traditional small 5x5. So I'm going to chop a couple of them in half, and I am just going to pop them to the edge of the H and the O, just to balance the edges. So let's do a couple more, and then press that in to the side, a couple more. Let's go, I'm just going to do the one there, and then the last one at the O saves chopping up another one. Right, let's pop these ones to the side now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come in with our card. So this is our watercolour card, and then I'm going to, let me just zoom in, or zoom out I should say, a little bit more, and then I'm going to take some low tack tape, or stencil tape in my case, and I'm going to bring in the stencil. And you don't need to be straight or anything like that, so don't worry about it. But what I am just going to do is I'm going to create a hinge. I'm going to go over the stencil edge because I'm only doing a little bit when it comes to the actual centre. And then I've got kind of like a little spatula thing. You can use anything. You can use a little knife, a palette knife. You could use the back of a scoring tool, something like that. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm not actually going to use the blue for this one. I'm going to use the glitter paste, which is the Moonlight Frost. And although this is a glitter paste, I want to really, really enhance that sparkle. So what I'm going to do is, because of course it goes on wet, I'm going to sprinkle some of the iridescent glitter on top. It's going to stick to it, it's going to grab, and it's going to make it even more sparkly. So what I am just going to do is I'm just going to take what's on that lid. Don't ever bin these, keep these and just sit them back on the top of your sparkles. You can see mine hasn't dried. I've not used mine loads since it launched, but it has been opened, and as long as you keep the film lid and the actual screw lid secure, you'll be all good. Now usually there is kind of a specific way when you are adding paste to your stencil, because you don't want to scrape too much because it can start to seep underneath because it is a water-based item. However, what I am just going to do is I've got a blob and I'm not going over the whole lot. I'm just doing little bits, and I'm not doing, you can see just here, some's going to the edge, some isn't. I'm kind of keeping within the center bit, but if there's bits that goes out, that's fine. And what I'm also doing is I want it to be quite thick, so I'm not really spreading it all off. I'm going to keep it relatively thick that we can see here, and then I'm going to lift off, and then you'll see we have got quite a thick sparkle of dots. And what I'm going to do, just so that I don't waste any of this, although I could just scrape it all off and put it back, what I am just going to do, any excess, if you don't like this sound, I apologise. So any excess, all that I'm going to do is take all that off. Again, I could have scraped that excess off, put it back in my pot, but then what I can do, make sure now I put that film lid, just set it back, make sure it's completely covered, and then put your lid on straight away and make sure it's sealed and it's tight. So then what I'm going to do once again is I can lift that off, and I just use black because that's what I had to hand. You can see here, once that's dry, use it again as a background. What I need to do at the moment, I'm going to clean that just in a second, so I'm going to sit it there for a moment, but I'm going to come back with my sparkly dots. I'm going to go on with my iridescent glitter, and then what I'm going to do, sprinkle it all on. Now if you had a plain paste, then you can do that and then that will become sparkly, but of course this is going to be uber sparkly when it comes to being dry. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see, I mean, look at that, awesome, isn't it? Now either leave that to dry at room temperature, or we are going to heat set it. So let's move that out the way. Make sure that's off, and then of course I am going to give this a clean. Once again, what you can do is if I take another bit of black card just for the sake of it, I'm going to go in and I've just grabbed the first bit I can get, and that is kind of like a DL size. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to clean my stencil. So if I lift that one up, then you get that cool effect there. So it's like bubble wraps, or it's like bubbles, but you're still going to get that sparkle. So I can set that to the side, use that elsewhere, and then let's just take the remaining bit off the top. Make sure you clean underneath, same with underneath there. So whenever you're using a paste or that on a stencil, please do clean it straight away. That is that done. I'm going to leave that to air dry as well, like those backgrounds that I've just done. And then what I do want to do is just make sure I take that excess off my little spatula knife. And there we go. That is that bit done. So let's heat set this now. So this is where your two speed heat guns comes to play. Now if I go direct in with that hottest heat, there's a chance that you could with the force push some of that wet sparkle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto number 1 first on that soft heat, and then when it comes to this temperature, what I'm going to do is I am just going to slowly start to dry the top of it. So I just want to heat set the top what can happen as well, if you go direct in with that high heat, it can start to bubble. Now sometimes you can get quite a cool effect with it bubbling, but I don't actually want that on this instance. What I do want is a nice, smooth, thick, sparkly bubble background. So once again, heat setting my bubbles. And then once I've done that, just for a moment or two, I'm going to go on to the high setting. And then I am wafting it, but not too much. No point in wafting it off your card. You're just wasting electric then, and wasting time. So I am going back and forwards all around to heat set the actual glitter paste. So let's do that all the way around. So we're going to go all the way around here. And for this, I really want to make sure it's set, because I want to do a little bit of water-based background in a minute with the sparkle. And if I don't make sure that it's set, when I come to rub, I'm just going to spread out these little circle blobs of sparkle. So let's go in. And I'm just going to keep going back and forwards, back and forwards. And then let's go back all the way in. So we're just going to keep on going all the way in, making sure that we're going to be nice and dry. Like I say, if this was all that I was doing, I probably would have stopped by now, started to assemble it and leave it at that. But like I say, I do want to ensure that it's fully heat set. And by moving it about as well, stops it from bubbling in that one position. So let's go in. All the way in. So here we go. And then what I'm going to do, once I'm kind of happy with that, I'm going to stop just in a second. A few extra seconds for luck, just to make doubly sure. Let's see. And then there we go. I am happy with that one there. So I'm going to leave it. And then what I am going to do now, I'm just making sure that we're kind of, there's still maybe just a little bit. But of course that's because it's still hot. So we're just going to leave that. The heat obviously melts it as well. So what we can do, let's just leave it for a moment. Then we can bring in, tell you what, let's start to make it easier for us first. Let's go in with our base layer. Now usually, you know what I'm like, I'll go in with matte and layer my top layer onto my coloured base, then onto the card blank. But to make it a bit easier for us, let's do this bit first. So I'm going to go in, let's move that out the way. Move this, bringing it in. So we've got our card blank, which is 4 by 7 inches. So we're going to pop that into there. I've got a little bit of sparkle marking on there, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. So once again, let's just zoom out that little bit more. So then let's go in with a bit of sparkle. So this one is Starry Night. So I'm going to go onto there. I don't need much at all. So I've got some nice relatively fresh water. So what I'm going to do, yeah, that's nice and heat set. So I'm taking a little bit of the water off my brush, and then I'm going to go over. Going to go over here that you can see, and then I'm going to do one of my favourite techniques, and I'm going to go in and just dab in with the background. Now I'm not watering it down too much because I want that blue to be quite strong, that we can see here. And then once again what I've done is I've aimed it towards the middle. So let's go back and forwards. I'm just cleaning up any excess. Now of course usually I wouldn't waste that, but for the sake of time I am just going to go over. Let's take as well as dry that off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take kitchen towel, paper towel, and I am going to go in, I'm going to dab some of that off. Now I could have done this with scrap card, so any of that excess ink would transfer onto the scrap card, but what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to take all of that ink off my glittery dots. So I'm giving it a slight buff, but of course it's rough with the glitter, so just keep that in mind. Now if you want it to have more of an explosion, you can go in with your spritz tool, your water spritz tool if you want. But then if I tilt it that way, you can see you're getting all of that sparkle from the dots. You're getting a little subtle hint of sparkle from that Starry Night sparkle pen that you can see here. So let's move that out the way. And then what I am going to do, just because we've got sparkle, we've got thick glitter dots, we've got some water that's been dry, I'm going to go in with my red liner tape. You can use your tacky or all-purpose if you want. You know what I'm like, I do love my dry adhesive. So what I'm going to do is go in with that one, and then make sure I've got a lovely strip down there. Peel that off. So let's take that off. Now the opposite side, it is nice and dry now, certainly the glitter dot, so I could have popped this onto my navy layer and then popped that onto my card blank, but hey ho, 6.5 dozen. So let's bring back in our first layer, and then I'm going to go in and then I'm going to pop that into place, and once I'm lined up I'm going to press. So we've got our lovely inky background, loving that, really chuffed with that one. And then you've got options. So my plan is to do hello, hello, and hello, you can see here, and then we can always do them at angles, or you can do two together and one down there, or you can, if you want to, leave it there and just do the one, which works well. Actually, I do kind of like just the one. I think that works a treat. However, let's just go with my original idea. But as I was saying, what you can do, you can go vertically, you can go horizontally. If you want to do the three of them, then of course you can do that. You can see here, you can always just do hello, hello, hello. You can go hello, hello, hello. You can do it at this side as well if you want to. You can then, did I do it that way? I think I did do it that way, didn't I? So you can see lots and lots and lots of different options and ways, and that's using 3. You might want to do 4 or 5 or 6, that's up to you. You might want to do a great big line of them. Once again, that is entirely up to you. So what I'm going to do is let's go in, and let's go, this is where I'm going to be undecisive now. So what we can do is pop that on. Yeah, I'm liking that one. So what I'm going to do, let's take the backing off. Now, in actual fact, what I'm going to do, because we've got a lot of different surface heights, I'm actually going to take my foam pads off, and I'm going to go in with my glue gel. So let's take all these off. Let's bob them off. I know it's a little bit of a waste, but hey ho, it's the afterthought. So scrape, scrape, and then scrape, and then let's do last ones. So at least by using your glue gel, that's going to mould to the different surfaces. So what we can do is let's take, and I say glue gel, you know what I'm like, I use my silicone from Sticks 2 that are just down the road in Newcastle. And also when it comes to silicone or glue gel, you know, I always use that same pokey tool for my glue gel, because it's not that I'm not a fan of the syringes that you get, it's just I've never really used them. So let's go in, and I'm going to take, kind of bunked up there, so let's just scrape that out. If it does happen in any of your glue gels that you've got, you can always use your craft knife to then scrape out, or just do as I do. And if you do use a pokey tool, just use your pokey tool. So once again, let's go in. So I'm going to pretty much pop my glue gel where I did have my foam pads. You can see there, so carefully put in a little bit at each bit, like so. So let's come in, and if you want to use the measurements on your glass mat as an indication, so roughly that's about the halfway point at 3.5 inches, then do that. And then by using your glue gel or your silicone like I'm doing here, it means you can press it so it's all in one level, and your glue gel / silicone will then mould to the different levels. So once again, let's go in and add a wee bit more onto here, pop some onto there, like so, and then we're going to go in. Let me zoom out a little bit more. So I'm going to go not right over the top, but I am going to come in a little bit. So let's add that in, like so. Last few bits onto here, once again going in like so, just to the edges. I'm going to make sure I seal that better. Turn that one around, pop that one into place, and then move it, budge it into the position that you want, Let's just move that one down. I can try and get it. There we go. Hello. 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 So hello die is what's come from behind door number 12. And then what we've done is we have die cut it in navy card and also white multi-purpose, and you can see how you can actually see that white drop shadow against the blue background. So drop shadow, we've done it 3 times, and then watercolor card 3.5 by 6.5 inches. We popped in our little dots over the top, that's been our stencil. We then scraped some of our Moonlight Frost glitter paste within the centre. We then added extra sparkle by sprinkling our iridescent glitter Moonlight Frost over the top. We heat set it, and then we added some water over the glitter dots. Then we popped some sparkle pen onto our glass mat, which was Starry Sky. Picked it up with a wet paintbrush, flicked on, let it dry. Well, we didn't let it dry. We dabbed off the excess ink off the glitter dots because that resists any of your ink, and then dried it off. And then what we've done is we went in and we added our hello. Initially was going to go and do it on foam pads, but because it was an uneven surface with the glitter dots, what we've done, took them off and added it in with our silicone glue, or you could use your glue gel. And then there we go, added it to a card blank, which was 4x7. And then there we go, we've got our hello. So if we come a bit closer, so we get the sparkle, and not only that, I will zoom inwards. So we've got hello, look at that. Glittery, glittery sparkle, double sparkle, triple sparkle if you include the sparkle pen. So there we go. There is your hello, hello, hello. There we go. Bring it in that way, Craig. There we are. So we've got our hello, hello, hello that you can see here. Bit of sparkle, quite a bit of sparkle. But then that's your 4x7 card, made using our hello die from day number 12, Monday the 12th. So doing a little bit crossover with mixed media there, mixing mediums there with our paste, with our glitters, with our sparkles as well, and then some die cutting. So hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. Really, really fun doing that one. Loved that one. And then I will see you again live tomorrow, where we're going to open up door number 13. I wonder what it could be. We'll see you then. Bye.